Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for all the blessings you've given us. We just continue to thank you for everything you do for us individually, our community, our families. We do pray your blessings upon us tonight as we go through this agenda, and give us wisdom and knowledge to make the right decisions and to ask the right questions. We do also pray your blessings upon our first responders and the many, many military families and personnel that are in this area. We definitely pray your protection upon them. In Jesus Christ's name I pray. Amen. And now the pledge. You ready?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It felt smooth to me.
All right. Okay, meeting announcements real quick. We do have a quorum. Ms. Pam is not here, but we do have 5 members of the board present. Audio and video recorders are in use, and if anybody wants to speak, address the board, please fill out the member form sign-up sheet that's in the lobby. And we appreciate that very much. All right, we got a lot of stuff to get through today because of the lack of meeting in January, and we postponed that, so there's a lot of stuff going on tonight. The approval of minutes and transcripts. I guess we'll start with January 16th, 2025. Business without a meeting, the 2025 Messi truck purchase, which we approved. Can we go through all this and approve it all at once?
Because we have different people that are in attendance at different meetings, we might need to do them individually.
Okay.
I'm all for easy, but I think we need to vote them separately.
Okay.
Yeah.
I trust your judgment. All right, so we're going to start with January 16th meeting, the BAWM, about the 2025 Messi truck purchase. Would anybody like to make a motion to approve the minutes and transcript?
So moved.
We have a motion.
Second.
And we have a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? You got it? Opposed? Okay. Carmen?
Or abstain? Would you abstain or oppose?
Okay. And Rob, you were aye? Aye. Okay. So that motion passes 4-1. All right, the second transcripts we have is January 20th, 2025 closed executive session minutes, redacted and unredacted.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, hearing none, motion passes 5-0. All right, the next one we have is January 22nd. The BAWM about the delayed 55th annual members meeting and election documents.
Make a motion to approve.
All right.
January 22nd.
I'll second.
All right. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed?
I abstain, just the nature of the subject matter.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Reynolds. Hearing no opposition, the motion passes 4-0 to 1 abstention. All right. The next one was the fun meeting. The open executive session minutes, that was on February 10th when we discussed the situation with the proxies. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes and transcripts?
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None? All right, hearing none, motion passes 5-0. All right, the next one, February 18th. the 55th Annual Meeting of Members, minutes and transcripts. And those transcripts were long.
I'll make a motion to approve with one change. In the minutes, I'm not listed as having attended, and I was there, and I was there on time.
That's on the 10th?
On the
On the
18th.
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 Okay.
Is that the one we're on?
Yeah.
Okay.
So do we need a,
If I remember correctly, Mr. Campbell was a little late.
Yes, he was.
Oh, Mark, we did have some corrections that are in the packets that may not be in your electronic version.
Oh, okay.
So if that's already taken care of, then it's fine. If
Okay.
not, we'll make sure it gets taken care of.
All right, thank you.
All right, we have a motion,
second? Can't remember where we were.
and we have a second from Mr. Matthews. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
I'm going to abstain.
Abstain. Thank you. All right, so motion passes 4-0 to 1. One abstention. The next one is February 27th, 2025, closed executive session minutes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, hearing none, motion passes 5-0. And the last one we have is the February 27th board reorganization minutes.
Motion to approve.
Second?
We have a motion to approve and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes 5-0. Thank you, everybody. All right, the new memberships, I think we can go through all three of these. We have December, January, February. December new memberships, we had 237. Canceled memberships, we had 243 and 0 transfers. The month of January, we had 211 new memberships. We had 211 canceled memberships and 0 transfers. And then in February, we had 247 canceled memberships, 247 new memberships, 225 canceled memberships, and 0 transfers. Do I have a motion to approve the memberships?
So moved.
Second?
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. All right, any opposed? All right, hearing none, motion passes. All right, unfinished business, the Club at Hidden Creek Fleet GPS contract, Mr. Krigler.
Yes, so this is an item that was on the agenda back in December. It was tabled with some of the questions that arose related to the budget. This is now the first meeting since then with regular business, so we're bringing this back to the board now that the club budget has been approved. So essentially this is a lease agreement to have a GPS system put in each of our new Yamaha golf carts. And what that system involves is a screen that's mounted inside the cart. It does multiple things. I'll go over a few of them. The most, I guess the biggest benefit is that it essentially improves the customer experience for the golfers. It tracks the cart's distance to the hole, and that's an important piece of information when you're playing. In the past, players would have different equipment they'd carry in their bag, et cetera, et cetera. This is a graphical display that shows each hole, shows the location of the cart from the hole. So that helps with the customer experience. It also has multiple benefits on the staff side. The main one is probably just the overall ability to track the golf carts and provide what's called a geofence. From time to time, there's parts of the course that are maybe under repair or off limits. It can restrict that. It allows the clubhouse to track all the carts. It allows them to track pace of play. So it does multiple things. It allows them to provide messaging to the golfers that are on the course. For instance, if there was maybe lightning in the air and you want all the carts to come back for safety, it allows you to alert them
much quicker. So it does lots of things. Also allows food and beverage orders. If you want to coming up to the 8th and 9th hole, if you want to hit the turn bar there, it allows placing orders and it would speed up that process. So provides a lot of benefits. So we did get 3 bids for this. It's a 60-month agreement. We're not recommending the lowest price. We're recommending the Pace Technology system. The other systems didn't quite do the same amount of kind of features that the Pace one does. For instance, I don't believe the Yamaha had the geofencing capability. Is that correct?
It had some geofencing, but it didn't display it on the screen.
Right.
So we don't have cart path all the way around. So on days like when it rains and we say cart path rough only, it would not show the customer where they couldn't drive. So like hole number 2, cart path goes off by the tees on the left side of the fairway, but we would want them to go around the right side because by the green is where the cart path is. And so if they just go down the left side, they would hit an area that they're not supposed to go. Then they have to back their cart up, which would obviously not be the best experience. So this system would show where we want them to go, which allow us to not damage the golf course and still allow us to drive more revenue.
And the other thing I'd like to mention is this is something that the majority of all the courses in there already have. This is something we're doing just to keep up with the competition. This is not us going out on a limb on some untested technology. Basically, majority of courses have this. A lot of golfers are coming to expect it, especially with the greens fees we're charging. We're not a low price course. We have a very nice golf product with our course, and having this type of technology is commensurate with what we're offering. So we think it's the right thing to do. You will notice the vendor's representative I think he was out of town last week, and we were working with them on the final pricing. We actually have a revised lower price, and that's on your revised agenda that was given as a handout. So this is looking at coming in at $3,681.60 a month, and that's a 60-month lease. And then the other thing I would add is that this technology also allows us to sell ads on the screen. So we should be able to get some revenue back. Of course, there's no guarantee of how many ads we're going to be able to sell, but that possibility is there, and we're going to pursue it. So we'll certainly offset some of that cost.
Real quick, Trey and Jeff, the other 2 systems did not allow for digital advertising on?
One of them did. It was just a picture. This one allows us to do, if a company has a video, like a 15-second to a minute video, they would essentially pay us to have that on there. But the other one was just
like a picture of the ad, whatever the ad would be.
Picture of their logo. So it didn't have. Now we can still do that on this one, but we can do the video capabilities.
Would the video capabilities be working while they're playing golf?
So typically with the geofencing, when they come to, like, let's say, 2 tee box, it would pop up. It would run for 15 seconds, and then then it would go off the screen, or they could touch the screen after that 15 seconds, and it will come off the screen. So it'll pop up automatically on the screen once the card gets to a certain point that we've set up. So hopefully we can set up some ones for multiple tee boxes, multiple greens, and so that we can have, I'm not sure how many total we want to have. We won't have the whole screen being advertised the whole time, but we want to make sure we can recoup a lot of this expense. But it also, like when you go to like number 8 tee box or number 8 green, you can pop up food and beverage options and make your order now. And that way we can hopefully speed up the process at the turn, but hopefully increase our food and beverage sales at the turn. So also recoup some of that expense.
Would there also be a volume button on that screen?
Yes, it's they can control the volume on that. There is a capability for people to listen to FM radio while they're on there as a benefit, or also listen to their phone and be able to set up to be able to listen to music. But we can control the volume so it's not too loud to deter our neighbors or potentially other groups if they're in front or behind them. So It's not like they're gonna be out there with the, full blast music where you can hear it 2 holes over. It can be controlled.
Interesting. I know, so we tabled this because, was this the company that we were gonna look into? Was that part of that?
No, my understanding was we tabled it because the budget wasn't,
Is
there was
that right?
questions about the
I'm
budget.
trying to remember the
is what I
sequence.
recall.
I thought we were looking at like the Yamaha.
There was some questions about, Yamaha's one of the other
Yeah.
vendors, and they are Yamaha golf carts, but we think we've answered those.
Oh, this seems fine. I was just
yeah.
trying to remember the sequence of it, because this sounds like it was quite a bit less, honestly.
Wasn't there an issue with the Yamaha battery and this possibly being a non-Yamaha product and draining the battery, or am I misremembering that, or?
So Yamaha, or Pace wouldn't, if for some reason there's an effect in the battery, the battery company, which I believe is Trojan for us, our golf cart company and our GPS company would have to come together and say, who's at fault. And so it may bring up a time where there's discussions on that. So the understanding that I have is that we have golf carts right now, you can plug your cell phone in to charge into the battery, into like a little USB port. The GPS system would be pulling less than that if you plug your cell phone in. So it's not going to be taking up the, it's not going to be pulling from the battery. It'll be charging, like when we plug our carts in at night, it'll charge off of our electricity when we're plugging it in, just like a golf cart is. But it won't be pulling more than what a cell phone would be plugged into the USB port while you're playing around. So.
Have they given us a couple of these, or at least one of these to play around with, and
They have not. I know myself and our superintendent played a golf course with it a couple months ago, but I've also played, Mark Point has it. So I've played with this.
So you've played with that one?
The superintendent at one of those courses, and him and I used to work together. He loves the technology from his perspective because he can, one, see where the golfers are and be able to send his staff to the holes that they're not, as opposed to having to have his staff drive all the way around to see where the open holes are. And then for us, because we are in need at certain times to put out more water, if we know where the golfers are, we can hopefully put out more water where they're not, so that way we don't deter the golfers and possibly hit them with water, but we're able to put out the water when we need to put out that extra water.
Okay. And when you say the geofencing, because we played Marcus Point, Jeff, didn't we, with that tournament we had? And I know it shut the golf cart off a couple of times, and that's what you're talking about with geofencing, right? Like
Yes,
you get to a point where you're not supposed to be, it just shuts you down.
Oh, okay.
Right, so this system will have, on your screen, will have orange dots or an orange line where you can't go. So the golfer, will be express that with their opening greeting with the starter, when they're coming up, saying, hey, the screen's going to show you where you cannot go. And that was one of the benefits of this system compared to the other one was that the golfers wouldn't know if they were driving the wrong area until it would flash on their screen that they're going into an area, and then they potentially have to back up because they don't know where does that point start, here or there, or 5 yards in front. So that's why this system will hopefully be a better experience for our golfers. It'll show them on the screen where they can't go.
About how long do you think it'll take to get somebody up to speed to program all that? Or will they program it for us?
So it's a 6 to 8 week turnaround, but they would send somebody here to do the training to help with making sure that we understand how to do the ads, the geofencing, stuff like that.
Okay.
So they would actually send somebody. One thing that we didn't mention earlier, it's a benefit to the golfers, but when we set the cups every morning, we change the pins typically every day, there's a thing that they press right over the hole that links up, so that way the hole that the golfer is seeing is the exact spot, which, for a lot of people, maybe the exact spot isn't ideal, but for the better golfers, to know exactly where that is will help their experience. So.
Yeah. That makes sense. Any other discussion, Ms. Reynolds?
Yes, thank you. I have 4 questions, and I can step through these slowly, or I can just give them to you in one fell swoop. During the period of the contract, if there are some troubleshooting issues under the purview of the contract, will they assist us with issues that we can't resolve?
So they have a technician that I believe is in the Pensacola market for the system. They would be sent out to help with the troubleshooting. And that way, if there's a warranty issue, then they would be the ones who can get us another one on our way. I didn't ask the question if they give us like a spare one to have here, so that way if one of ours goes down, that we can do that at one of our other properties. That was the case in a previous golf course that we had a couple extra, where if one went down, we could take it off, put the other one on, and link it up. I didn't ask that question, but there is somebody in Pensacola. They have Marks Point, Tiger Point, Regatta Bay has a system, so they have 3+ in our little area that they're already working on. And the 2 managers I talked to hadn't had any issues with their system. So,
Will they charge if they have to come out to determine what the problem is? Is that going to be an additional charge over and above this monthly contract?
I don't believe so, but I'd have to follow up with that question.
That would be good. I see you're going to get into ads. Will that be additional workload on you all, and how will that be done as far as soliciting to fill those ads, which could help offset the cost of the contract for additional revenue?
It would be additional work for one of our staff members. Myself, that does the social media, it would be taken on by me, and then with Jeff's, inclusion, we would decide how best to move forward. We have a pretty good range with our social media, but also our email systems, to be able to let our locals in the area, also with the chamber, spending $75 to I think $150 to do an ad to try to say these are the options for potential advertisements. But I believe we can fill a decent amount of those ads over the course of the next 9 months, and then hopefully, if we do our job and we continue to show the value to that company of the golfers that they see, hopefully they'll be continual and annual customers of ours.
Third question, what happens at the end of the contract? Can you paint that picture for us?
So
at the end of the 60-month contract.
Right. So in the past, when those contracts come up, just like with our golf cart fleet, if we continue with that same company, and then they would bring us the new systems, take the old systems away. I know with talking with the rep, if we do go through the golf cart change before this next time, they would send their person out to take them down and put them on our new fleet.
So we would be looking at a new contract at that point?
We wouldn't. We don't own the equipment. The equipment goes back to them at the end of the lease.
6
Right.
months.
Now,
but we'd need to replace that again, right?
You wouldn't have to, but if you wanted to do another lease, you'd have to do another one at that
Gotcha.
time. That's
right,
correct.
and that's similar with our other, like our maintenance equipment or our golf cart fleet. When our last golf cart fleet ended, we did go with the same company. So when they brought the new fleet, they took our old fleet away. So that would be something similar. My understanding is that these screens are gonna, they could last longer than that 5 years. But if a new contract gets us new screens, I would think that we'd want to go with newer screens, because the amount of enhancements over a 5-year period with that screen, the screen's going to be even better. But the system will update automatically, so the new technology that our screen can handle will automatically be updated. So we won't have to worry about getting the latest system. Our system will be up to date, other than the screen will be 5 years old. So.
And these systems weather the sun very well, and the elements and all of that?
Yes, ma'am. The system is underneath. It will be underneath our top, so it won't be, other than the fronts or the back side of it, would potentially be in the sun at some point. Possibly, the angle of the sun might be a little bit at the very end of the day when it's low enough to get underneath the top. But yes, ma'am. In my experience with other systems, the weather did not play an impact with it.
Thank you. Final question. I'm not sure who needs to answer this, but so that our members know that we're not overspending or overcommitting, Can someone give us some reassurance about what either the monthly or the annual revenues are that we can accommodate this?
Talking about the overall revenues or the ad revenue?
The revenues for the club at Hidden Creek and an expenditure.
Okay,
every
no, I
month.
understand that. Yeah, no, well, certainly as you'll hear in Mark's update, January and February are slower months, but we're getting into the springtime where the course is getting a lot busier. And if you look at our numbers from last year, it certainly would accommodate this cost, if you look at the numbers from last year, so.
Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
I think also just having this equipment on the golf carts will improve the ability for us to charge the green fees that we're charging, and possibly even raise them if once we add this technology. So it's kind of an investment in the course and the golf experience. So I mean, I know it's a big number, but I think it'll pay off in the long run.
And I might add, when this gets fielded and comes to fruition, a really good media coverage of this new enhancement, I think, would behoove the club at Hidden Creek and overall in general what is being done to provide state-of-the-art equipment.
I think that's a good idea. We haven't even talked about how we're going to get this message out. Like, once they're installed, after that 6 to 8 week installation, we need to get the message out, hey, come see our new GPS system on our carts. So I think the golfers will really want to hear that.
I do have a couple of quick questions, too, that I just thought of as Ms. Reynolds was talking, but the screens themselves, do they have a warranty? And if so, do you know how long that warranty is?
I thought it was a prorated, but I'd have to double check that. You know, it reduces down as a.
Right, well, we're paying monthly for it, so
They got to. Yeah.
They should replace them.
bring it out the whole time,
They're
right?
replacing them for free.
Jill still is gonna check out the contract, correct? If we approve it, then it says legal review, so.
Yeah, he has not seen the lease
Right.
agreement yet. That would be contingent upon his review.
Yeah, I mean, that would definitely.
Yeah, I appreciate you bringing that up, because, we have not seen an agreement. The only thing we've seen is a proposal. The only thing in the proposal that I had a question on was the tiny little print at the very end says, all electric cars must have a working charger, which, I mean, I understand the thing has to be plugged in so it works. But I mean, that was curious, because, I mean, all electric cars would typically have a charger, right? Why would there be a specific provision? Why would there be electric cars that don't have a charger?
I'm guessing they're just talking about if you had 80 golf cars and you only had 60 chargers, so they weren't hitting the charge every night.
Oh, I see. This is not, I thought that they actually had to be plugged in, like every golf cart had a cigarette lighter, and it's like you plugged your.
So we in our cart barn, we have 80 golf carts, and then above those 80 golf carts is the
Right,
charger.
for at night.
And the cord comes down and plug it in.
So it charges with the cart.
The GPS would be hooked up to the battery
Right.
of the.
That was my question. It doesn't have its own battery. It's running off the car's battery, which gets charged every night.
Right, I believe it has an internal battery that gets charged through the battery at night. Yeah.
Maybe. That's the only question I have. And it is true that we haven't seen the agreement, but I do caution you, it's kind of like I expect it'll be like the cart. It'll be a bunch of words on a bunch of pages on a corporate contract that we don't have a lot of, opportunity, red line and change.
Yeah, right.
So, we'll look and we'll see, and we can advise on what it says, but it'll be what it is.
And as part of that, we'll make a note to review the warranty language in that agreement and make sure it's
That's
acceptable.
The warranty, the replacement,
Yep.
the service, all those questions would be.
If there's anything that we find objectionable, we don't have to sign it.
Yeah.
We can, if they don't want to work with us, we can go back to the drawing board, so.
And my last question would be, do you have any idea, Trey, what the average revenue is for a golf course that uses this particular system? As far as the advertising revenue?
So The one that I talked to, one of the ones had been using this system, and the other one was starting to get into it. So the one that I talked to, I think they recouped $25,000 per year from that. The other system, the other person, they were about to start doing that. They got their, he enjoyed it because he was doing internal advertising for his upcoming tournaments, for his the restaurant they have there. And so he's doing the same thing with internal advertisements to also recoup some of that money with the extra bar business afterwards, or having a screen with our event space, so that way hopefully we can pick up more different
More
events.
events and
Yeah.
so forth.
Because,
Okay.
there's a lot of people that play that they might leave space for their HOA or for their retirement party or their different parties that they have. And so we would have some internal marketing that would also pick up some extra revenue there.
Okay. Yeah, 25,000 is a nice number. It's yeah, almost 6 months, right? Somewhere in there, 5 or 6 months. It covers. Anybody else have any questions or discussion?
Yes, Mr. President, your commentary just prompted another one. Trey, are there other golf courses you mentioned that are using this technology? Are they well into it? Have they got a track record that they can say, oh yes, this is a good company, we haven't had any problems, our screens aren't melting, they've been very receptive to troubleshooting questions and things of that nature? Do we have any frame of reference on that?
So, out of the 3 courses that mentioned our local area that I know that have that, 2 of the 3, I talked to their managers. One, I think, has had it almost 2 years, and the other one's about a year, and they didn't say anything negative. One of them had a different company that had a negative experience, but this one has not had a bad experience. And then it's one thing to talk to just manager, but to talk to one of the people in the agronomy that really likes the ability to know where the golfers are to help better their experience. They saw the benefit there. But one of the 2 wasn't even using the ability to sell ads, and he said it was well worth it for him just because of the pace of play aspect. When we do a 150, 175 round day, and we have a starter and a marshal. Well, if the marshal is now on the back 9 because it's later in the mid-morning or whatnot, if that group on hole 3 gets behind pace, they may not be caught until hole 7 or 8. Well, now the 60 people behind them are now having a poor experience because we didn't get around to them to catch that early enough, and then. And so by this system, being able to catch that, hopefully we make those 40 to 60 people behind that slow group have a better experience because we catch that slow play early, which means that they're going to want to come back to the following spot when we're really busy, as opposed to saying, unfortunately, that was a poor experience because of slow play. I want to go find another golf course. So having a better experience on golf course because of better pace of play is going to add us more revenue in the course of a year.
Thank you.
So I do have a question about the legal review. So if we go ahead and agree to this right now, and it says legal to review agreement before execution, would it be brought back in front of the board again to approve the final agreement, or?
It'd be up to you all.
Okay.
I think one thing we could do is set a date to have that legal review done before our next management board meeting, summarize everything there. If Mark were to feel, or the board were to feel there are any concerns, we could bring them to this board. So that'd be one starting point.
Okay.
In other words, if it's only minor comments and we decide to proceed, we'd proceed. But if we think it's enough of a concern to bring it back to the board, we could do that.
Okay.
And that
would be my concern, right? That there's stuff in there that we probably need to all agree to. But all right. So no more discussion. Does anybody have a motion on this particular item?
Yes.
Oh, we do have Mr. Bill Field's going to address the board.
Bill Teal, 2842 PGA. I just wanted, does Tiger Point, our main competition, have this system, a system like this?
They have this system.
Okay?
Okay.
If they didn't, that would be something that
Right.
they didn't have. And since we don't have it and they do, that's still a good reason to get it.
I'll make a motion that we approve the contract, or not the contract, but this PACE Technology 10EX system, subject to legal reviewing the contract.
Second.
That's my motion.
Okay. And I heard Mr. Matthews give a second. All right. So the motion is to agree to the PACE Technology 10EX system and allow legal to review the agreement before execution. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, hearing none, motion passes 5-0. Thank you, Trey. Appreciate that. New business, CEO update, Mr. Krigler.
Yes, thank you. So I'll provide a couple of updates here. First, I wanted to share some progress pictures on our Eglin project. It's moving along quite well. These first set of pictures you see here is the new pump station at our wastewater treatment plant. You can see kind of get a feel for the depth of that station, as well as the size of that excavation and the shoring required to do that. And you also kind of see in the setup there for the rebar, and you see in that picture on the left, you see the bottom portion poured already. So that was coming along nicely, and it's really impressive if you get a chance to be out there and actually see it. And then continuing on, that picture on the left is also the excavation at the plant for the wet well. And then moving on, the picture on the right, we are now installing the reclaimed pipe down Highway 399. So we've come under the bay and down Jewel Road, and they haven't done the crossing of 399 yet, but now they're starting to install pipe down 399, and then of course it'll go east on 399, turn south through the Fairpoint piece of property and meander its way to Pepper Drive there. This is looking south from 399 down the Fairpoint piece of property there.
Is there going to be any impact on traffic when they do install it under the highway there?
So my understanding is they're still looking at options there. The plans call for a trenchless crossing. They're looking at some options, possibly looking at open cutting it. But if they do the trenchless crossing, it's in the plans, so there would be minimal traffic impacts. So
They're leaning more toward the trenchless, going underneath the road with a jacking board, which would be helpful.
right.
Yeah.
And then on March 4th, I've informed the board that we'd had a tornado at our main office here. We got away, all things considering, pretty well. A lot of fence damage. You see the fence damage here. You see a damage to a little storage building in the back behind the ops building across the street. Had some trees down, one of our nice oak trees, and it fell on the new messy vehicle, and there was no damage. So I guess, as you can see there on the left picture, so brand new that we approved tonight in the board action without a meeting. Barely a scratch on the thing. And then on the right, you see our guys, they cleaning up. We had all that cleanup ourselves. We're leaning towards doing a lot of the fence repair on this piece of property in-house. Probably have to hire out some of the chain link across the street. Doesn't look like any of the fence work is covered by insurance, so it doesn't look like we really have an insurance claim for this event. The tree stuff was minor. The only question mark is the roof. We're still kind of assessing that we didn't have any roof damage. It does not look like we did. So, given that it was a pretty bad weather event, got by relatively unscathed. So, yeah, that's it. Oh, I got to do one other thing. Just want to remind all the directors, we have the board training scheduled for March the 28th, and kind of block off, we'll be sending out an agenda on that soon, kind of block off around 8 to 1, 7:30 to 1. We may try to get you out quicker than that. We'll probably do breakfast and lunch. It's going to be longer than it was last year. Last year we just had Rob, and I think we kind of did an abbreviated version. With 2 new directors, we're going to probably make it a little bit longer version. I've got some specific things I want to cover. Mr. Dunaway's going to have some things he wants to cover, so should be very informative, but just kind of, keep that on your calendar there for that time frame. That's all I have, David.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. Appreciate that. We're going to head on now to the director's update. Ms. Hardy is not here, so we will go on down to capital improvements. Ms. Reynolds.
Okay, here we go. This was my first committee meeting, and the staff does a great job putting everything together. The members will be happy to know that as far as unrestricted, we are only at 1% expended, and as far as restricted, we are 4% expended, and there is a long list of items that have been zeroed out and will not be attempted because of the lack of funding. So I was particularly satisfied with that. And some of those items that have been pushed for lack of funding are a new maintenance building and some other items that will remain unaddressed until our financial situation improves and we find new funding. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Budget, O&M.
I've had a medical procedure, so I wasn't able to attend, so I'm going to defer to Jeff on this.
Yeah, so we did meet internally, although we didn't have a director there. January is usually just kind of off to somewhat of a slow start. If I recall, the water and wastewater sales were pretty much right on target. Impact fees were slightly lower than expected. That's kind of something we've been talking about, but that's something we noticed. And then there was no concerns on the expense side for the first month.
All right, thank you, Jeff. Pension 401k, Mr. Matthews.
Nothing new to report. We're saving, and 401k is looking good.
No January meeting. May get together no January or February. May get together in April, May timeframe.
Yeah, that was part of it too.
Okay.
Nothing happened because nothing happened.
All right. And Jeff just went over the regional reuse project, so there's nothing else I need to add to that. Next one up would be the Club at Hidden Creek, Mr. Miller.
I attended my first management meeting for the Club at Hidden Creek for the month of March, and there were several things on the agenda that were discussed. The conditions of the course, the marketing opportunities that we have, the CIP projects that are planned for this year. There's quite a few things in the works there. We went over the financials for the club, and the financials as far as green fees were less than what was budgeted, mainly due to a lot of the bad weather that we had, cold weather and everything. But that'll improve as the weather turns nice like it did today. Event revenue was actually up, so that was good, and expenses were under budget as well. Even though the revenue was down, the expenses were down. So hopefully these next few months will bounce back and revenue will be back where it needs to be.
All right, thank you, Mr. Miller. And again, the Fairpoint Regional Utility System Representative, Mr. Kriegler.
Yeah, just a few quick items here. Next Tuesday, we'll have our first meeting with our new members, Director Matthews and Director Miller, if I recall correctly. That meeting's also the annual meeting for Fairpoint, where we'll do the election of officers. We'll also have Warren Averett present the results of the audit for Fairpoint whereas Holly Navarre, she'll present that in April, so she's able to get Fairpoint done quicker with it being a smaller entity, so she's presenting that this month. We also kicked off our Fairpoint booster pump station projects. You may see some of that work if you're going down 399. In addition to our Eglin project, Brown Construction is doing some work at the right adjacent to Midway Station number 2. That's a Fairpoint project, so you may see some of that going on. And that's all I have for Fairpoint.
Mr. Krigler, could you elaborate on the Fairpoint project?
Yes, so there's 3 booster pump stations that are being put in for Fairpoint. One is already installed at Holly Navarre Tank 6. One is at what we call Midway Station 2, which is here on 399, and then one is down at Midway Station 3, down there off of 98, just past the bend where 399 comes into 98. We've already purchased the materials and the equipment for those projects. You may have seen those. Those are the buildings, the prefab buildings that you can see across the street. We're currently staging them here. They have pumps and controls inside them. They're prefab pump stations, and they're going to be installed at the 2 sites. So we have hired a contractor to install those, and he's mobilized. He's just now doing some clearing and things like that, mobilizing to the site, but you'll see those getting put in here this spring.
Thank you.
All right. And we'll move on to Municipal Engineering Services Representative, Mr. Phil Phillips.
Everything is going well. We've got plenty of work. You can see the last couple months were particular barn burners for us. Maybe the pace will be a little less the next couple of months. For those of you that don't know, the employee that was serving as Holly Navarre system engineer has left municipal, Corey Snyder. We have replaced Corey with another junior engineer on staff, Jordan Golden, who will be occupying that office now. I don't expect that to change much in terms of the operation of Holly Navarre, the system engineer position, although I think Jeff and I are going to take the opportunity to change some minor processes and stuff like that. But we are currently down 1 employee from where we were a couple of months ago. So as you all know, we continue to solicit for additional help. We've advertised again, and hopefully we'll attract some good people this time. We'll see. Hard to hire people right now. Extremely hard to hire people right now.
All right.
Mr. Phillips, could you clarify what types of engineers you're looking for?
I probably could have said it better than what Will just said. I don't, if I could pick one person, it would be someone just slightly junior to Dale and I, a professional engineer with a dozen years experience. But that's not the only person we would consider. We would consider a more junior engineer.
Are we talking civil engineer?
Oh, yes. So we're civil engineers. We don't do structural, electrical, mechanical in here. We hire third parties to do those services. So we're primarily looking for someone that's a civil engineer that would specialize in the water and the wastewater field.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Reynolds. All right, moving on to new business. Item number 3, Finance, review of November and December's quarterly 2024 financials. Mr. Krigler?
Yes, so as the board will recall, with our delayed annual meeting, we would typically have presented November and December's financials in February. That did not happen, so we are presenting those here tonight. And then in the next item, we'll also be covering January 2025, but we'll handle that as a as a separate item. So I'll let Barbara cover November and December.
All right. So for November and December, and if you don't mind, unless you want details for November, I was just going to go into year-to-date December, if that's fine.
Everybody okay with that? All right, yes, thank you.
Okay, great. So the annual unaudited numbers for 2024 was total revenue of $18,087,020. Total expenses was $12,773,407. Total operating income was $5,313,612. I wanted a special note that $2.2 million of the $5.3 million was revenue coming in from the grant, so it's not true operating income. And $1.165 million of that was equity earnings. That's also the earnings coming from the members, so that's not true cash and operating income as well. So with that said, the total operating income was 1.949 for the year, unaudited. The December water and wastewater impact fees were down from the prior year. The December water and wastewater sales were up from the prior year. The total annual revenue was over budget, which is a good thing at 108%. The general administration expenses were under budget at 94%. The water expenses were under budget at 94%. Wastewater expenses were under budget at 81%. So overall, I think 2024 came in great.
Nice. So under budget and under expenditures, I like it.
So we probably want a motion to approve
Yeah,
that.
so
those
before we
2
go
months.
to-
Do we have a motion to approve November and December's quarterly 2024 financial statements? So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, hearing none, motion passes 5-0. All right, Ms. Barber, we'll move to number 4, the review of January 2025 financials.
Okay, so January, the water impact fees, this is kind of odd for me. The water impact fees were down from previous year, but the wastewater impact fees were up from previous year, just telling me that more sewer were connected than. And then the water and wastewater sales were up from previous year. The total revenue, overall revenue was under budget at 7%, keeping in mind that the rate increase is not effective until March 1st. So general administration expenses were on budget at 8%. Water expenses were under budget, just under budget at 7%. And wastewater was under budget at 4%. The January revenue was $1,132,912. Total expenses was $1,005,963, with the total January net income of $126,948. Again, a good month.
All right, any discussion from the board? Do we have a motion to approve January 2025 financial statements?
Make a motion to approve January 2025 financials.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, hearing none, motion passes 5-0. All right, on to item...
Mr. President,
Go ahead.
could I ask one question?
Sure, absolutely.
In reviewing these financials, I noticed that we're spending a lot on separate insurance policies, many of them, up to 5, for crime, for wind, for this, for that. I just wanted to make the comment that we might consider I had spoken with Mr. Krigler this week, and he said he recommended maybe we should look at studying some self-funding and what other water systems have done.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, it's going to be a topic at the board training.
Yeah.
Insurance is a hot topic right now. We're facing increasing costs, almost declining coverages, high deductibles on certain policies, especially the wind policies, if you can even get them. So we think the conversation needs to be had, and we're going to make that a topic at the board training and talk about a strategy for the board as we approach our upcoming insurance renewals.
Yep. I'll admit I don't know much about self-insurance and how that works, but I'd love, looking forward to finding out, discussing this, because I agree with you that the prices are just astronomical these days.
Yeah, and you have to keep in mind, the wind policies are a good example. The costs keep going up, and they're high deductible.
Yep.
So you have to spend so much to even get any value out of it. You really got to look at the numbers.
Right.
So.
Looks like we should have had some wind damage on that fence out there.
It's an exterior.
Oh, they don't cover that,
Yeah, it's this whole other section.
I just found a company that does special fence insurance. I'm just kidding.
Good idea.
$1 million.
All right. Don't click your pens.
Pencil.
All right, we'll move on to item 5, pension plan, restatement of defined benefits. Mr. Krigler.
Yeah, so, retirement plans in general are governed by numerous IRS rules and regulations. Our defined benefit pension plan is no exception. From time to time, the IRS requires that the plan documents be updated to ensure that they're in compliance with the changing, laws and rules. So basically, this is required by the IRS. This is what's called Cycle 3, and that's just the name for the process to maintain the approved plan document. I believe the schedule we're on for these restatements is every 6 years, so you can imagine there's different law changes in between that time, and this is just catching the plan up with that. I've spoken with the actuary. The critical thing here is that these changes to the plan are all minor and don't materially affect the cost of the plan. They don't affect what our participants are going to get one day in terms of benefits. So just an example of of some of the changes, and the changes are listed in the resolution document. I've highlighted just a few of them. For instance, there's revised disability claims procedures. If you're on disability as it relates to your pension benefits. There's some new changes to rollover provisions to a simple IRA. We don't think that would be a common occurrence with our plan at all for our type of participants. And there's been changes to some of the same-sex marriage rules as it relates to beneficiaries and whatnot. So once again, pretty minor changes. The actuaries assured us it doesn't affect our plan on the financial side. So what we're asking is for the board to approve the resolution to adopt and also implement the restated pension plan.
And Jeff, real quick, who actually put that document together? Was it the company that we're doing business with?
GHB is the company the actuary works for, and he sends us those documents. They actually keep track of all of these changing regulations and advise their clients on how to keep up with that and what's required.
It was a very complicated document.
It's not.
It's not easy to read.
Yeah.
Hurt my brain.
Yeah. All right. Any further discussion from the board on this issue? Do we have a motion to approve the resolution to adopt and implement the restated defined benefit plan?
So moved.
All right.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Seeing none, motion passes 5-0. All right, moving on down to engineering. Do you have anything further to add?
The one thing I guess for discussion tonight is if you look back at the operations report, the I&I that is reported or calculated continues to be extraordinary. So extraordinary that we know there's something weird going on somewhere. And Clinton and Mark think they've identified some water that's being used at the plant that is not being properly accounted for. Because we just don't, we don't see the I&I. We have a process that we go through where we look at the run times of the lift stations and we calculate what the flow should be in each area. And we're not seeing an area where we see the I&I. Not that there aren't other areas where something could be happening, but again, Clinton and Mark think they've identified a process at the plant that started using significantly more water and is not being counted. It's being double counted, in other words, in the plant.
Gotcha, okay. Yeah.
So hopefully by this time next month, we'll have figured out whether that's in fact the case and know whether or not that, we have a problem or we have a math problem. So that's the only thing I'll report. If anybody has any questions on anything else, we'll certainly entertain those.
No.
Yes, Mr. Phillips, you're right that the water loss was significant, and I'm glad you provided that explanation that you guys are on top of it. For the record, any members that are out there that are married to civil engineers with 10 years of experience in water and wastewater, or themselves, how would they get a hold of your organization to apply for the open position that you have?
We're nationally advertised, but certainly if there's someone local, they're welcome to call any of our numbers. Jeff, me, Dale, Emerald, anyone. We can accommodate that. If you can get a Hollywood person on the phone, they'll get you to the right person.
And they just ask to speak to Messi.
Yes, if they will indicate why they're calling, we'll get them to the right person.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Or they could just ask for HR. That would be another option too as well, and that'll get them to the right person.
Okay, nice. Thank you, Ms. Reynolds. Next item on the agenda is member forum. I don't see any names on the sign-up sheet. Is there anyone in the audience that wants to speak? Okay. So we're going to go ahead and move, and do I hear a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
I got a motion, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting is adjourned.
Yeah, home, baby.